Hello there, Joe Shaw here, full stack engineer in the Incubation engineering department. This is my weekly update video. And what you can see here is my weekly update issue where I just go over some of the components that I've been working on. So one thing to note is this APM project where the issues are stored is also now where I'm working on the proof of concept system for APM. So that's where we are looking at storing metrics, logs, and traces initially via the Datadog agent. So a bit of history on that. We've previously done some analysis of the Datadog agent in a sandbox environment to make sure it's doing the sort of things we expect and a bit of validation around that. We've also performed quite an in-depth evaluation of ClickHouse and benchmark that for metric storage. And we've designed a flexible metric schema for ClickHouse as well. And you can see that in the previous videos. And we benchmark that as well with some good results. So what I've been working on in the last week is trying to push forward infrastructure for the APM project. So it will be running slightly separately from GitLab initially because it integrates with the GitLab APIs, or it will do, and we can run it in its own Google Cloud project, so we can more easily monitor that. So we managed to get Incubation members to be able to create cloud sandboxes now, so we can create Google Cloud and AWS sandboxes to build and test our software if we need to. So I'll be using one of those sandboxes to set up a testing environment for this. And we've sort of got a fairly good handle on now the sort of access requests we need to make to get proper staging and production environment set up. I'm going to do that once I've spent some time iterating on the infrastructure for this to make sure it works as I expect it should. The next thing is we've been working on getting this implementation of the metrics submit service in place. So we've built an initial version of the submit endpoint for Datadog metrics that's using the newly developed ClickHouse storage schema, and it's a very initial version. It needs a lot of work to harden it and make it acceptable for production use at GitLab. So I need to work on that as well. So we've got an open issue here, which is the sort of overall iteration, linked to the submit backend there, and some cross references here. So we've got the metrics design that we've completed and some of the components here that we're looking at. So what we've done so far in this project is set it all up to be Kubernetes first. So it's all sort of cloud native setups, and that's even in development, we're using Minikube so that when we move through environments into testing, staging, and so on, it should be a lot easier for us to accomplish that. We won't be building all that from scratch. So that's the way I'm testing the application locally. So we merged in a Helm deployment with ClickHouse. So for ClickHouse, we've gone down the route of using this Alternity ClickHouse operator. I've seen quite a lot of mentions of this for a while, and it seems to be used in a few different organizations successfully. It's got a lot of documentation, and this should allow us to create a ClickHouse deployment on Kubernetes where we can manage shards, replica sets, migrations of data and things like that quite well. So there's a lot of functionality in there. It's got built-in configuration for monitoring, maintenance tasks, and you can do a lot of complex setups with it. So it looks quite useful. I'm using that both in development as well to set up the basic case. What else do we do? The development environment also sets up Datadog, so we can test that locally. That's running in the Minikube instance. And we've also got a test version of Grafana in there as well to run with that. And where's that other? This issue is the one that we're tracking the actual series endpoint implementation in. So they've got some details of that here, and we're working on that in another merge request here for the draft gateway service. So I'll show you that running. That runs from this project. It's a simple installation via Helm that we can run locally through Minikube. So here's the K9s interface that we can look in our local cluster, looking at the pods in that cluster here. So you've got a ClickHouse cluster there, single shard, single replica cluster just for development that you can see. There's the ClickHouse operator. We've got our dev gateway. We've got the Datadog agent running that has the main agent and some of the components in there. We've got a sort of local test version of Grafana where all the auths turned off. And this is similar to sort of stuff we've demoed previously when we were testing Datadog. So I've been able to reuse quite a few of those components. And we also have got kube state metrics running there that Datadog uses to get Kubernetes metrics. So that is deployed in quite a simple way. All the images are built automatically and deployed, so it's quite easy to use. I need to set up CI to do some builds on there as well. And you can see, as a quick example, if we refresh that, this is the data from that ClickHouse database with the newly designed metrics schema. And this is system CPU and user CPU being rendered in here. And those are, you can see the queries down here. Excuse me. You see the queries in place down there. That grab and display that data. So there we're grabbing the measurement system CPU and getting an average of the system field names from there. So this kind of splits out the data into a nice format for us. So that's good, that's positive. Like I said, there's a lot of work still needs doing there to productionize that service, and you can see all the code for that in this project. I've added some interesting links there, including the operator. So next week I need to continue improving that implementation, adding some test cases, making sure it works for different combinations of metrics, doing some exploration with it, and also to continue iterating on the test infrastructure as well. That's going to be vital. So I want to be able to get at least a test cluster for this up and running with CI deployments into there, so that we can get into staging and production as quickly as possible with this. Okay, that's it for me for the time being. Thank you very much.